Welcome back to Vampire the Masquerade, and we're nearing the end of the game with it being night 5, and I'm very excited to see because maybe the end will turn out a little bit differently than Kali. Let's see. But firstly, we're going Nadir. We survived, mostly thanks to Kali saving our skins. Hopefully this will play out in her favor despite my inner voices vehemently disagreeing. As soon as we enter the temporary Elysium, Julia slips off my shoulders. I relish the brief moment of relief, observing as Kali, limping slightly, moves to assist Julia, who struggles to light her cigarette. It's a little odd habit, but who am I to judge? What's strange and what isn't? I notice Kali's quiet panic as she scans the surroundings. I come over, offering her a comfortable pat on the shoulder, and sit beside her, savoring the stillness of the moment. We're all simply exhausted. And we have every right to be. The continuous chatter on the door catches my attention. More and more people tickle in, bringing whispered news. But I close my mind to it, catching only glimpses of the ongoing conversation about Prince Panhardt's grave condition, Aisling slipping into torpor, Payne missing along with his servant. Hope's earlier comments about the servant's trustworthiness echo in my ears, but I blocked that out as well. However, I know all too well that those are moments of quiet never last. The background noise grows louder, with Kadir's hound at the center, nodding at me with unmistakable disdain. I really don't appreciate the way he's eyeing me while muttering something to his buddies. I'm not really sure how I can imagine actually the scene, whether there's more and more kindred are pouring in. Is there's not only the council but actually all the kindred of the city? The description here is not so clear for me. You're gonna pussy out again, don't ya? I push myself up and walk over to them. You just can't seem to get enough of me, huh, can you? The fuck's your problem, huh? It's hard to believe your little brain can handle talking and moving simultaneously. Chilly trash. You'll get used soon enough. Call me that again. I dare you. Got it out, all of you. Silence engulfs the room, as if all the air has just been sucked out of it. Only Julia, unperturbed, takes another drag of her cigarette and lazily blows the smoke out. Kadir and Valerie stride into our temporary shelter, looking like they've been through hell. They're covered in blood, clothes dirty, and ripped in pieces. But while multiple gashes and scratches mark their skin, they seem otherwise relatively unharmed. I didn't even notice their arrival. Either I am losing my edge, or I'm still too wired to pay proper attention. Kadir moves to the center of the room, standing tall with his shoulders squared and jaw set. Every conscious eye follows him like a hawk. Our defense's third offense was successful. We managed to rout the remaining assailants with no further losses on our hand. Valerie joins him, standing at attention, hands clasped behind her back. We were not followed to this location, and since this Elysium is freshly established, its whereabouts remains secret. We must rest assured that we are secure here for the time being. Kadir surveys the room with a stern gaze, brows furrowed, and for even deeper at the sight of Kali and me. For the moment, though, he focuses attention elsewhere, barking out an order to my tentative enemy. You! Give me a complete status report on everything that occurred in our absence. Yes, Sheriff. He launched into a brief account of all that happening while Kadir and Valerie were out on their murderous rampage, tallying up the dead and wounded. Kadir remains unmoved, though rooted to the spot in a peculiar way that suggests he is best restrained by the very rage that yearns to propel him forward. His demeanor is unsettling. He was distant when I first arrived in New York, but now he seems to be even further removed, almost beyond reach. That'll be enough. The hound clamps his mouth shut mid-word.
Prince Penhart is in no condition to continue tonight. We will wait the day out here and plan the next steps come nightfall. Any objections?
His tone invites none, but none are raised. As the kindred start to slowly filter out, searching for a place to bunker down for the night, I feel a gentle tug on my sleeve. I think it's our cue to leave.
Indeed, let's. Not so fast.
You're gonna get yours. In the blink of an eye, he steps right into our path, tossing us a look sharper than a blade.
Your arrival, right at the cusp of the attack, seems far too miraculous for my liking.
Before I can even voice my burgeoning anger, Kali speaks up, all bristled and agitated.
What's that supposed to mean? We literally saved your asses. Perhaps. Or perhaps not. We will sort that out tomorrow night. For now, I think I've got you just the right place to rest. You, take them to the basement cell.
A cell? You can't be serious. As the ache in my wound intensifies, I am left with no strength to resist. Neither Kali nor I protest as we are escorted down into a clean basement cell. We do, however, exchange a few whispers.
Got any clever plans to get out of this mess? Preferably without pushing us straight into another?
Never, always in trouble, mess, trenches. The glamour in my mind intensifies once more, leaving me only with a profound sense of resignation.
Why don't we hold off on the bickering for the evening? I really need to rest, and you should get some too.
How the hell am I supposed to rest with this fucked up dream playing on a loop?
No need for being dramatic, Kali. We have survived a veritable nightmare tonight. How much worse can it get?
Her silence speaks volumes, and I quietly appreciate it, because I too dread hearing the answer. So noble, so chivalrous, so full of shit. Not for my own sake, but for hers. Meanwhile,
talk. What? Can't you get your tongue? Thought you loved running your mouth off, huh? Like some eager little bitch, waging your tail for your masters.
You aren't gonna tell me that knife in your throat making things difficult, are ya? Speak the fuck up.
Yeah.
What's that? Sounds like a fucking mutt whining. Bark for me. Why don't ya?
I fucked up. I let all of you down, and I'm fucking sorry, but...
Typical. Always a fucking butt with you.
Don't! Not like this. Not when everything's going to shit. Please. You gotta hear Pádraic out. Shut it. Just shut up. Ever since that pretty boy wormed his way in, you've got even more spineless, telling us to lick Dramarilla's boots, hold back, we can mend fences. It's all for a better future for all anarchs. Pure fucking bullshit. I've never... Go to hell, Torque, and take your fucking caution with you. Mia, don't! Mark my words, y'all. You act like a dog, you die like a dog.
Oh, fascinating. A little usurping on the Anarch side. Let's see if we have to deal with that still. It's Pádraic. Night 6. 2 nights till New Year. Chill concrete beneath pitch-black darkness, around and then voices. Distorted, frantic whispers piercing through the silence, a cocktail of discomfort, jolting me awake from the abyss of my death-like sleep. Morning, sunshine. In the fleeting moments of total blackness, the bitter truth of last night's mayhem slams into me like a truck. The assault on Elysium, the countless near-final death, the absolute chaos of it all. Quietly, as to not rouse my cellmate nor alert those outside, I creep up the few stairs leading down to our cell and put my ear against the door.
Shouldn't have happened.
At least we agreed on that.
You'll do well to...
Before I can catch another word, Kali rouses from her sleep and looks around, a little confused, blinking at me dazedly.
I didn't think sleep could get worse than it did in my last backup haven. You holding up okay? I'm all good, thanks. I cannot say the same for Downton Abbey out there, though. Think it's gonna bite us in the ass? You tell me.
I slide over, freeing up some space for her by the door. She takes the hint, leaning in to press her ear against it, nose scrunched in full concentration.
You basked in your own authority, Helene, blissfully ignorant. A damn epitome of why they call us the Ivory Tower.
Treat lightly, Sheriff. You're addressing your superior.
Superior? By what measure? Do you truly see yourself perched above us all, Helene? Above those who met their final death under last night's moon? Baines, gone. Aisling, in torpor. Julia, barely slipped through the jaws of that multi-headed beast, and many others found no such luck. This is the heavy toll of your lethargy. Tell me, how many times did I suggest relocating Elysium?
But perhaps we should seek to de-escalate.
Spare me, Arturio. I want to hear it from her.
Kadir,
you've been so detached, you don't even know. Had I not anticipated such a disaster, securing havens and employing safety protocols in advance, where would we stand now?
The tension is like a thick fog creeping under the door and engulfing both Kali and me, leaving behind a sour sting in the air.
This is what happens when you neglect to prepare. The dire outcome of inaction when action is crucial.
This disaster wouldn't have happened if you had simply done your job. Had you stayed hidden, heeding my directives instead of meddling with mortal dangers.
A juvenile excuse, matched by equally a juvenile assessment. You were warned repeatedly that the mob with their pitchforks and torches wasn't idling the days away. Yet you ignored the matter and insisted on throwing bodies at the old clan instead of fortifying your lines. Ridiculous. Ever since the debacle with Callahan, you've been unraveling, Helene, succumbing to stupor bit by bit, with your harpy puppeteer blind to your decline.
How dare!
Oh, just shut up, Arturio. It's common knowledge everyone and their sire is in on it.
A moment of silence descends upon the room. Kadir, the masquerade...
Spare me the old refrain. The masquerade ends when the dance floor is engulfed in flames.
And quelling those flames was your responsibility.
My role is to prevent the fire from igniting or to douse it swiftly should it arise. Instead, under your command, I'm just a latecomer to damage control, while you bash your head against a submissive wall.
You're well aware of our reasons for prioritizing Vitra. We were gaining ground.
Were we, Helene? Vitra remains unyielding, decimating our envoys, clinging to her ill-gotten domain like a killer whale, unapproachable. We are clueless about her motives and alliances. It's clear she's scheming, executing her plans quietly, yet so far none of us has tangibly threatened our interests. Does this shadow play really outweigh gunfire on our streets?
Even from the distance, I can tell Panhard is thoroughly embarrassed.
Had we paid heed to the purge of the thin bloods, to the unaccounted kindred death beyond our circles, leads would have surfaced sooner. Larsen's destruction was a glaring warning, ignored because you dismissed him as nothing more than a farce. Now, the failure regarding the Vitra issue are mine to shoulder. He scoffs loudly. For weeks, we've known her true adversary was well organized. That alone should have set the alarms off, but the scale... He starts pacing, rapidly losing his composure. Curse it, Helen! We had Aaron Fletcher on our sides, 2 full nights ahead. The evidence was compelling, the strategy laid bare, the catastrophe was avoidable. Fletcher. The very notion sounds ludicrous. I know, right? But when you really think about it... The distinct snap and flare of a lighter igniting cuts through the tension for a momentary dramatic pause. He's charismatic multimillionaire, totally ostracized by the public for his extremist beliefs, notorious for sprouting the wildest shit. And the rumors about gun running, spot on, according to what I've dug up. Plus, he's got his hands on some top-tier tech, which would certainly help in his obsessive hunt for the kindred. His deep pockets and sheer zealousy are what keep this whole circus afloat. Ludicrous as it sounds, the pieces align perfectly. As the court's argument dies down for a brief while, Kali throws me a confused look. I can't help but mirror it, even though I'm trying to look as put together and composed as always. Then suddenly clarity descends upon me. The influential mortal mentioned in the circulatory systems documents, he's the head of the hunting group terrorizing New York. It seems Kali has realized the same thing. Pádraic, I think I just pieced together something major. Aaron Fletcher is the influential mortal who's been buying arms from your sire. Can't you ever just pretend to be clueless? Like, oh, really, Kali? Do tell me. My brain's too damn small to connect the dots. I fight back a smile. It's good to see that she's still in reasonable high spirits, even if her humor just masks her fear. Apologies. It was an instinctual response. Whatever, it's all bullshit, no matter how you slice it. She falls mournfully quiet for a moment, as if unsure as to who she is anymore. Just when I'm about to offer some words of comfort, a burst of muffled noises breaks the silence, snapping us back to the moment. We both press closer to the door, straining our ears again. What do you propose, then? A booming thud signals Kadir's introduction of the fist to some innocent piece of local decor. There's a time for courtesy and time for heads to roll. I go for the latter. We have to crush this mob, snap their pitchforks and smother their torches, and for that to happen, Aaron Fletcher must die. Bennett's quiet surrender says it all, a tacit admission of loss. Just as I thought. The tides are shifting, and the new alignment of power is obvious to anyone with a shred of common sense, and with pain out of the picture. Valerie, mobilize our forces, remind them that caution is paramount. The streets are yet to be cleansed. And reach out to Torque. Is that wise, Kadir? The potential fallout of the Anarchs turning on us seems disproportionate to the gain. We've skirted around the edges of peace far too long. I'm not taking chances. Besides, we need to put their allegiances to the test. Speaking of which, we're currently hosting one in the basement, along with another matter needing attention. I'm sure our mediator would make for a fine messenger too, but we have to sort out this issue of his company. Enough. You bring them here now. Understood, sir. I straight up when Kali jerks away from the door as if burnt. Shit, fuck. I reach out and put a hand on her shoulder, partly to comfort her, partly to keep her steady on her feet. Poor girl looks like she's completely in shambles. Still, she doesn't push me away. Take it easy, Kali. We get through this. Like hell,
I'm royally screwed. You heard the fucking sheriff, right?
Easy, Kali. Don't let them see you're scared. It'll be alright. All the things we dug up. We've got what it takes to shut them up, trust me, just...
I'm cut off by the screeching of the basement door opening. It's none other than my favorite lackey who pokes in his head into the cell.
Lash out on him, that fucker. Who does he?
They're waiting for you upstairs. His eyes, when he looks at Kali, are so full of pity. That's the visible sags when she notices it, completely drained. I nod at the hound, both of us upholding the temporary ceasefire, and head out while Kali trails slowly behind me. The remnants of the once formidable Primogen Council stare us down at the approach of as we approach the sheriff. Kadir is not as wild-eyed as he was last night when he went on that rampage, but he still radiates this suffocating intensity, and the look he gives us both is filled to the brim with judgment. In one swift move, he picks up his scimitar from the rack, and Kali visibly flinches.
You're free to leave now, caitiff. I take it you've lingered by the basement door long enough. Inform your barren friend of the course of action.
So that's how it's gonna be.
I intend to, but I'd like to see this through. She was my responsibility after all. Very well.
Kali shrinks a little, eyes darting around like those of a prey animal. I want to reach out to comfort her again, but such a weak gesture wouldn't go well in the council's eyes. All I need is for them to consider me confident if my plan is going to work.
As you may have noticed, we're on the clock here, and I have little patience for your charades. You promised Cassell's head on a plate, and yet here we stand, empty-handed. At this juncture, any Ravnos head would suffice to lift my spirits.
Wouldn't that be a sight worth seeing? Kali remains rooted to the spot. When he places the blade against her neck, I smother the urge to step in. Not yet, Fionn.
One reason. Give me one good reason not to use it.
She glances at me, eyes filled with desperation, but her gaze is quickly captured by Kadir's. While they glare at each other silently, Kali's face changes from terrified to pensive to unbelievably furious.
You knew the whole fucking time.
Not yet. But things are starting to get out of hand.
Kali, listen. Christ, how could I have been such an idiot? Ease your wrath, young raven.
She smacks Kadir's blade away from her neck, fangs bared in seething rage.
All this bullshit with Praxis, dragging the system into it, the arms dealing. You fuckers were in the loop the entire time, using me to draw Reynard out.
Artorius smacks at he as her sardonically. Julia gives a solitary, sarcastic clap. Look at you playing detective. Kadir looks Kali over, then lowers his weapon a notch.
I suppose there's little point in keeping the charade up, is there, Prince?
Your further attempts to degrade my position are less than welcome. Unfazed, Kadir speaks up again.
Indeed, our strategy was to draw Cassell out into the open, to unveil the target of his arms trade. His knack for evading trouble made him a challenging quarry. We had strong suspicion that he, wittingly or unwittingly, armed the mob that despoiled Elysium last night. Given the man's reputation, it's not far-fetched to assume he would deal with the little devil. But you're closer to him, make of that what you will.
Kali looks truly devastated. Although her body is stiff with fury, her shoulders still sag and lips turn downwards. She briefly closes her eyes.
That's when you entered the picture. You, choosing the caitiff as your caretaker, was just a sweet cherry on top.
She bites her lower lip, hard enough to split it.
And for what? All for fucking nothing. Not quite. Your endeavor, although it might have unfolded as intended, might not have unfolded as intended, played a crucial role in cornering Aaron Fletcher, Cassell notwithstanding. And as for your other misdemeanors of your sire, they now pale in comparison. We've gathered the essentials to douse the true inferno before us.
Now. So downplaying her role, redirect his attention, probably that could be better, or deflect is probably, I'm not sure. Let's redirect his attention. Indeed, that is why we should focus on the fire, lest it consumes us whole. The sins of Kali's sire burn bright, that's true, but hers barely glimmer. She looks at me in disbelief. It's hard to watch, so I keep my eyes on Kadir. Transparency wasn't our forte with her, yet we've achieved our aim by leveraging her limitless naivete. I think it's time to release her. I'm trying to help you, Kali. Stop making that face, please. Kadir raises his blade again.
Knowingly or not, she was complicit in Cassell's schemes, including those that led to the assault that nearly spilled our end. In my eyes, that constitutes capital punishment.
I didn't. Do what you must. Almost inadvertently, I take a step forward, placing myself firmly between Kali and Kadir's sharp blade.
Ease off, Sheriff. Sheathe your weapon. It's just misdirected aggression. Preserve its sting for the true culprits. Perhaps you have a point, mediator.
It's not your time, Fionn. Stand firm. Although the blade inches closer to my skin, I feel nothing. No fear, no anger, just serene clarity.
Kadir, cut the shit, please. Enough is enough.
They were there for us last night. Pain is a transient. Speak.
Look beyond your fury. Recognize Kali for what she truly is. A blind tool in the scheme of a seasoned manipulator. Her death achieves nothing. It won't deliver Cassell into our hands. It won't rewind the past. It serves no purpose other than to satiate your thirst for carnage.
Yeah, let's put the anger to good use.
Why not feed yourself on punishing those who really deserve it?
Kali remains paralyzed, twitching from time to time, seething in fury. She watches me carefully. I don't know if she's so worried for herself or for me. Because the edge of the sheriff's scimitar is so fucking close to my neck, it's about to break the skin. Stand firm.
Is mine, or this stupid fledgling's end, truly worth the fallout? Press on and see how Torque's corporation becomes a distant dream.
I can feel the pressure of the blade right against the dead water on the side of my neck, but I stand my ground, calm, collected, and confident.
Enough, for fuck's sake.
I cut her off with a gesture. Silence, girl. Let me help you.
Release her, Sheriff. Just let her go.
Then Kadir actually does it. He lowers his weapon, his whole body shaking with an anger he's barely keeping in check.
Go. Now.
Yet Kali doesn't move an inch. I can see her trying to struggle against invisible restraints of her own frozen mind. But before I can wake her up, Kadir bares his fangs once more.
Get out before I change my mind. And never show your face in New York ever again.
Kali stumbles a little from the abrupt drop in tension. looking at me searchingly. Let her go. I try to silently express regret, an apology, an explanation. We are both slaves in a different masters, Kali. Some of us more than others, some of us have hidden so much from the world. But you've told me yourself. What are we, if not the secrets we keep? I don't know if she understands. Her face shuts off as she turns on her heel and storms out of the building without looking back. I can see Julia grimacing in sympathy, but that is all the reaction of the council decides to give. Gadir's eyes are cold and full of disdain when they bore into mine. You go. Now, get Torque and make him show up before I change his mind and make an example of why caitiffs are unwelcome in the domains of the Camarilla. That seems to be my cue. I bow, partly as a show of irony, partly to hide the relief that washes over my face, but I can't help but throw in my 2 cents as a farewell. You are on a path to destruction, Sheriff Kadir al-Asmai, for you and everyone around you. It's not too late to change course. Kadir knuckles tighten around the handles of his scimitar, but he remains silent. It's Arturi who tosses me a wry look. You forget yourself, O mediator. Your job isn't to stand in the ways of the court, it is to mediate. So go, and do just that. Kali is predictably long gone before I leave the temporary Elysium. I decide to head home, to the Bronx, but my journey is slow. I feel as if I was wading through a bog, barely putting one foot in front of the other. The voices in my head are screaming at me, with little to no reprieve. I spin my ring until it grows hot with friction, which silences them for a while, but it never lasts long. They are, somehow, different this time. It's as if they can't make up their minds. That's never happened before. Usually, although each of them is distinct, they carry the same message, push me forward towards the same urge, try to lead me astray. But not tonight. Tonight, I can barely catch what they are saying at all, weaved and knotted into a incomprehensible cacophony. I don't understand. What's happened? What's changed? Kali. Yes, Kali. I halt mid-step, looking blindly at the dimmed but colorful lights of the urban landscape. I guess that we at least deserve our goodbyes, don't we? I should find her. If only I knew where she would have gone. Her motorhome, Theon. Alright, then we're going to go and say our goodbyes to Kali. When we do that next episode. See you then. Take care.